In April of 1912, the largest passenger ship the world had ever seen prepared for her maiden voyage across the Atlantic. Marketed as unsinkable, this grand ocean liner would meet a tragic fate only days later, forever cementing her name in history. The ship was built to outshine her rivals. Other liners boasted speed, but this vessel was designed for luxury and size. She stretched nearly 900 feet long and weighed over 46,000 tons. Construction began in 1909, and after years of work and millions of man-hours, the massive hull was complete. On a May morning in 1910, thousands of people in Belfast gathered to watch her slide into the water. But the ship was still far from finished. Another year would pass before she was finally ready to sail. On April 10, 1912, the ship stood in Southampton, gleaming and loaded with supplies. She had room for over 2,400 passengers, yet only 1,317 boarded that day, along with about 900 crew. A coal strike had kept many would-be travelers away. At noon, the mighty vessel pulled anchor and slowly moved out to sea. Her immense size caused smaller ships nearby to shift dangerously, one nearly colliding with her. Disaster was narrowly avoided, and the captain, James Harland, a seasoned sailor admired by wealthy travelers, let out a sigh of relief. From Southampton, the ship made brief stops in France and Ireland, taking on new passengers. Among them was a young traveler, Robert Graham, who boarded only for a short leg of the journey. He snapped photographs of life on board, some of the few images that would ever capture the ship in her prime. On April 11th, she left Ireland for the last time and turned her bow toward America. Life on board was a world divided by class. First-class passengers enjoyed grand dining rooms, French cafes, and sweeping staircases. Second class had comforts equal to first class on other ships, while third class, though more modest, was far better than what many immigrants had experienced before. Families could stay together in small private cabins, giving them a rare sense of dignity. For a few days, all seemed perfect, but danger lay ahead. That spring had been one of the worst for ice in half a century. Warnings of icebergs crackled in from nearby ships, and Captain Harland adjusted his route further south. On the night of April 14th, the stars shone bright above a calm, moonless sea. Lookouts in the Crow's Nest, Daniel Fleet and William Lee, scanned the darkness, but they had no binoculars. They'd been left behind in port. At 11:40 p.m., a shadow appeared. An iceberg loomed directly ahead. The bell rang 3 times, and the warning shot through the bridge. "Iceberg right ahead!" First Officer Marcus Murdoch ordered the ship hard to starboard and engines reversed. For a moment it seemed they might clear it, but then came a long, low scrape as ice ripped along the starboard side. Below deck, steel plates buckled, rivets popped, and seawater surged in. Captain Harland rushed to the bridge. Within minutes, the ship's designer, Thomas Andrews, inspected the damage and delivered grim news. 5 watertight compartments were flooding. The ship could survive 4, but not 5. She had less than 3 hours to live. Lifeboats were uncovered and prepared, though there were far too few. Outdated regulations required lifeboats for only about a third of those aboard. As crew urged passengers to the boats, many resisted, believing they were safer on the giant liner than in small wooden craft. Some lifeboats were lowered half empty. Confusion spread. One officer allowed men to board after women and children, while another insisted it be women and children only. As the bow sank lower, panic grew. By 1:30 a.m., the ship tilted steeply, and the truth became undeniable. Wives clung to husbands, parents kissed children goodbye, and officers forced passengers into the boats. Captain Harland made his rounds one last time, then returned to the bridge, determined to go down with his command. At 2:15 a.m., the ship's lights flickered out, plunging the night into darkness. Moments later, with a thunderous roar, the vessel broke apart. The bow sank quickly, dragging the stern high into the air before it, too, crashed into the sea. Within minutes, the once proud liner was gone. In the freezing black water, over 1,000 voices cried out for help. The cold silenced them one by one. In the lifeboats, survivors sat stunned, listening to the fading screams. At dawn, the rescue ship Carpathia arrived, pulling the survivors from the sea. Out of more than 2,200 people, only 712 lived. The tragedy shocked the world. New laws soon required ships to carry enough lifeboats for everyone and to keep radios manned around the clock. Ice patrols were established to watch the Atlantic. Yet even with all the changes, the story of this ship remains a haunting reminder of human pride, fragile technology, and the thin line between safety and disaster.